Well, we're out here on a nice sunny Saturday at the park, and I dubbed today Armin Wing Day. I'm going to try and fly two Armin Wings today. One is my Noob Tube 2.0, slightly larger wingspan than the standard Noob Tube, slightly narrower fuselage and a little more power in the motor. Beautiful plane for doing barrel rolls and loops and all out having fun. And my big wing Noob Tube, which I've tried flying twice now and never had a successful flight. Once because it was underpowered, and the other flight wasn't successful because I used a bad ESC. So let's see if the third time's a charm here. Now this doesn't stick down. I don't have anything to stick it down, but hopefully just the force of moving through the air will help it stay down. Well, flying today, and as I had hoped, it's a slow flyer. This is actually everything I'd hoped for. Now there's a little bit of wind here today, not much, but it's a big wingspan plane with a very underpowered motor. Listen how quiet that is. Uh-oh. Wow, that's the first successful tree hit I've ever had. I don't know if there is such a thing, but I actually clipped that tree. This plane's got reasonably small control surfaces for the size of the wing, so it isn't able to turn quite as sharply as some of my other planes. So the only thing, I said it was underpowered before. The only thing I changed to give it slightly more power, I actually didn't change the power. What I did is I changed the prop. It's a relatively low kV motor, maybe an 1100 or so. So I upped the prop size from what I originally had. Wind's picking up a little bit, so I don't really like to be up too high, just because it's my first time successfully flying this plane. Well, there you go, Ed. You told me to try again, and I did. And it's quite a beautiful flyer, actually, for nice slow speeds and nice relaxing flight. I've got a little bit of wingtip dihedral you see I've thrown into the mix there, just to kind of have some self-correction. And hard to tell with the wind, but it certainly seems pretty easy to fly. There, I'll just let go of I'm constantly letting go of the control stick here just to see how that works out there. I've let go of the control stick. Now it's requiring a little bit of up elevator to keep in the air at this speed. And my trim on that is all the way, so I actually will need to mechanically correct that so that it's trimmed out properly at center. I can't trim that so it flies straight now. Increase the speed a little bit. Let's see. Well, if I increase the speed a little, the up elevator issue is solved. So maybe I won't even bother mechanically trimming that out. I'm not going to try anything fancy like loops or barrel rolls with this plane. I suspect that it won't get the job done when it comes to that stuff. It may be able to do inverted. I just love how quiet it is. You wouldn't even know it's in the air, really. Smooth flyer. I have a 1300 milliamp hour battery in there because that's basically all I can fit in that little fuselage. You can tell that the fuselage on this is a little smaller than the standard. I think I made it 1 inch by 1.5 inch. The standard Noob Tube is 2 by 2, and my Noob Tube 2.0 that I'll be flying later is 1.5 by 1.5. Lately I've been flying all wings, Well, you can tell that battery, which surprised me. Maybe it wasn't a fully charged battery to start with, but now I've got that on full throttle, and it's flying about what it was on 3/4 throttle when I first started. So yeah, that's our last pass, and I'll bring her in. Well, a little rough on the landing. I didn't want to accelerate as I was coming in there and damage the prop. But I would call that, without a doubt, my first successful flight of this plane. Still not too bad. Now this one, not so, I gotta make sure I don't step on that other plane, but this one's not so stable in the air. Well, actually it is at speed. A little faster. Where this guy really wins is that kind of stuff. And the quick barrel rolls. It's kind of a loop. I wonder if I don't have enough elevator area. And that's just gliding. Look how nicely that little guy glides. There's a loop. Over some sort of consecutive barrel roll record there with the Mobius on board. This is the first flight I've actually, I think it's the first one I've had this Mobius on. I may have tried it on one other flight before. Oh, it's definitely the first one for this Mobius, because yes, I had my old Mobius on my Frankenplane, which was also Armin Wing design, and the Frankenplane went down about a half mile away from me here, and took out the Mobius, took out my Contour HD, destroyed the Frankenplane. Just a little low power. Now this must have something to do with the nose area on this plane or something. Or maybe it's the fact it's carrying two cameras, but I have this same motor, the Turnigy, I think it's 2826 or 2628, I can't remember which, 2200 kV motor, on my 44-inch wing, which is a much heavier plane than this, much larger, and it will do complete vertical. Well, this one will do it, but he has its limits. So not quite sure. Maybe it's the ESC or something. I don't know why there seems to be a little less power out of this motor. Oh, it's probably the prop I'm using. That would make sense. You should always have 2 coffees before you come flying. Oh, let's just do a little no power dive. Pull it out. I realize that using these cheap video sunglasses, you're not going to see much of this plane from the glasses, just because it's a small plane and I'm flying at a bit of a distance, just because I'm trying to do stuff like this. 1, 2. Wow, one just pulled out. Don't usually fly over there. Just tried to do a little bit of inverted flight there, but I had trouble keeping it stable inverted. Now, what I'm noticing, I think I'll bring it in and trim this out a little bit. Noticing when I let go that it's having a tendency to to roll to the left.